Welcome, I am JC Bartolome, and today, together with my groupmates, we're going to tackle the different rights under the rights of workers to help society, especially the trans community, to provide them basis and additional knowledge on their rights. Workers experience a lot of problems of just wages and unfair compensation. Most corporate social responsibility, works and wages have focused on whether our work meets a certain level of compensation, usually the legal minimum wage. Employers sometimes pay less than the required minimum wage. Some employers require employees to report fewer hours than they actually work. And employers sometimes incorrectly classify employees and pay them a low salary no matter how many hours they work. A job, even full-time employment, is no sure escape from poverty. Thus, the first tragedy of unjust and unfair pay of wage is a serious problem that can be insufficient to live a decent life. A wage should be enough to meet basic needs and to provide some discretionary income. Employers should handle wages properly and not delay it as part of their rights. The reality is that the vast majority of the workers in emerging economies struggle to survive on wages that are barely provided by them, hence not enough to cover their daily subsistence needs. According to Article 103, Time of Payment, wages shall be paid at least once every 2 weeks or twice a month at intervals not exceeding 16 days. If on account of force majeure or circumstances beyond the employer's control, payment of wages on or within the time herein provided cannot be made. The employer shall pay the wages immediately after such force majeure or circumstances have ceased. No employer shall make payment with less frequency than once a month. So why is living wage important? Because minimum wage rates feel workers at the lowest end of the pay scale and even where established are often not met. Without living wage, workers may be compelled to work excessive overtime hours or multiple jobs. They become bonded laborers. It can put their children into work instead of school. They are compelled to be denied their basic human rights to food, shelter, nutrition, health, housing, and education, and suffer social deprivations such as being unable to take part in cultural events. And lastly, to be unable to withstand crises such as ill health. The purpose of minimum wage laws is to prevent employers from exploiting workers. The minimum wage should provide enough income to afford a living wage, the amount needed to provide enough food, clothing, and shelter. The purpose of the right to wages is to protect workers against unduly low pay. They help ensure a just and equitable share of the fruits of progress to all and a minimum living wage to all who are employed and in need of such protection. Minimum wages can also be one element of a policy to overcome poverty and reduce inequality, including those between men and women, by promoting the right to equal remuneration for work or equal value.
Our topic is about the rights of workers. We want to imply the rights of workers to equal opportunity for everyone to be promoted in his employment to an appropriate higher level, subject to no consideration other than those of seniorities and competence. We want to imply the rights of workers to equal opportunity for everyone refers to practices that are designed so that all applicants' employees are treated similarly without regard to protected characteristics such as race and sex. All workers have the right to equal opportunity for promotion through fair, merit-based, and transparent processes that respects human rights. The applicable criteria of seniority and competence should also include an assessment of individual circumstances as well as the different roles and experience of men and women in order to ensure equal opportunities for all. There should be no place for irrelevant criteria such as personal preference or family, political, and social links. Similarly, workers must have the opportunity for promotion free from reprisals related to trade union or political activity. The reference to equal opportunity requires that hiring, promotion, and termination not the discriminatory. This is highly relevant for women and other workers such as workers with disabilities, workers from certain ethnic, national, and other minorities, lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and intersex workers, older workers, and indigenous workers. The state shall protect labor, promote full employment, provide equal work opportunities regardless of gender, race, or creed, and regulate employee-employer relations. The rights of workers to work as freely chosen and accepted. The right to just and favorable condition of work is a right for everyone, without distinction of any kind. The reference to everyone highlights the fact that the right applies to all workers in all settings, regardless of gender, as well as young and older workers, workers with disabilities, workers in the informal sector, migrant workers, workers refuge, workers and unpaid workers. So all employees deserve to be treated fairly and with respect. And everyone deserves to be treated fairly at work. Thank you.
Whether you manage, own, or work in a company, there is one goal that you should constantly strive for. No worker should be exposed to hazards that endanger their safety and health. Everyone has the right to work in a secure and comfortable environment. The Occupational Safety and Health, or the OHS standards, require employers to keep and maintain their workplace free from work hazards that are likely to cause harm to the workers or damage to properties, and allowing workers to execute their duties without or within an acceptable exposure limit to hazards. Occupational safety also implies the manufacturing and labor process techniques. If you suspect there are violations occurring, you or the worker's representative can request an examination in the regional office of the area by providing full details about the infraction or hazards. Don't worry because your name can be kept confidential if requested in your complaint. And if you are ever punished or discriminated against for exercising your right as an employee, you may file a discrimination complaint of the Act. We want to make certain that you are aware of your right as an employee, as well as how to obtain or exercise those rights as necessary. Know your right as an employee and take action to protect and keep yourself and others safe and healthy.
Hi, I'm Juliana, and we'll move right into the right to holiday pay, incentive leave, and service charges. According to Chapter 3, 94, 95 to 96 of Book 3 of the Conditions of Employment from the Department of Labor and Employment, workers have rights to holiday pay and incentive leave as well as service charges. Within this chapter, it tackles compensation amidst proper days and holidays. In the Article 94, workers have the following. Every worker shall be paid his regular daily wage during regular holidays, except in retail and service establishments, regularly employing less than 10 workers. The employer may reply an employee to work on any holiday, but such employee shall be paid a compensation equivalent to twice his regular rate. And, as used in this article, holiday includes New Year's Day, Monday, Thursday, Good Friday, the 9th of April, the 1st of May, the 12th of June, the 4th of July, the 30th of November, the 25th and 30th of December, and the day designated by law for holding a general election. While in the Article 95, workers also have the following. Every employee who has rendered at least 1 year of service shall be entitled to a yearly or annual service incentive leave of 5 days with pay. This provision shall not apply to those who are already enjoying the benefit herein provided, those enjoying vacation leave with pay of at least 5 days, and those employed in establishments regularly employing less than 10 employees, or in establishments exempted from granting this benefit by the Secretary of Labor and Employment after considering the viability or financial condition of such establishment. The grant of benefit in excess of that provided herein shall not be made a subject of arbitration or any court or administrative action. Last but not the least, I would also like to tackle the Chapter 3's Article 96, which talks about service charges. Collected by hotels, restaurants, and similar establishments shall be distributed at the rate of 85% for all covered employees and 15% naman for the management. The share of the employees shall be equally distributed among them. In case the service charge is abolished, the share of the covered employees shall be considered integrated in their wages. So that's it for Chapter 3, the right to holiday pay, incentive leave, and service charges.
Right to weekly rest. What does this mean? So according to DOLE and their conditions of employment, an employer must provide the employees a rest day consisting of no less than 24 hours after working 6 consecutive normal work days. So this means that every employee from any job or work must have 1 day of rest every week. To add to this, the employer will determine and schedule the weekly rest day of their employees. However, the employer shall respect the preference of the weekly rest day of their employees if the preference is based on their religious grounds. This means your rest day is decided by your employer, but your employer must respect your preference if it's based on your religious beliefs. And that sums up the right to weekly rest. Thank you.